Miracle Space Race is a racing game from Mud Duck Productions that was released on the original PlayStation. The game is played like a combat kart racing game. You have whimsical characters based on animals who fly around tracks and can fire missiles at each other, as well as use other power-up pickups like mines, shields, turbo boosts, and more. The gameplay is obviously intended to be reminiscent of games like Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing. The courses, at least in the first cup in the game, are sci-fi inspired and make you feel like you're racing on various space stations. There are variations in the level types, and although the levels bend and twist and have interesting things to look at, the tracks are remarkably flat. It could be because this is just the first cup in the game, but getting to the others will be harder than you think. The game features 3 modes: a time trial mode, arcade, and tournament mode. Arcade mode allows you to play tracks you've unlocked, while tournament mode lets you compete in cups to unlock the 2 other cups as well as 2 other racers. Unfortunately, the game's difficulty is shockingly up there. The only 2 difficulties are listed as easy and medium, and for me it basically meant the difference between 4th place and 3rd place. I reduced the number of laps from 5 down to 3, but then I thought maybe it would be easier to obtain 1st place if I had a little more time. But it just was not happening. Unlike games like Mario Kart, there doesn't seem to be any rubber banding. If your opponents get far enough ahead of you, it's over. They stay ahead. The characters each handle a bit differently, but there's nothing in the game to hint at how different they are. Analog controls can be toggled on, and force feedback for those with DualShock controllers works quite well. When I settled in to play 2-player mode with a friend, we were shocked to find out that no such mode existed. No multiplayer support exists whatsoever, not via a link cable, and not even split screen. The one thing this game could benefit from more than any other is at least a multiplayer mode. The graphics of Miracle Space Race are shockingly very, very good. Even with all the other racers on screen mixed in with the pack, the game doesn't suffer from slowdowns. Although the 3 maps in the first cup feel pretty much the same the entire time, I have to give credit to the textures for looking good and not seeing a lot of dithering or other tricks that were common in the PS1 era to speed up the game. The game was released late, and I'll get into just how late in a moment, in the life cycle of the PlayStation. But even then, things like the laser effects as you're racing through tracks are nice ways to set them apart from one another. Simple but nice touches make this game quite visually appealing. There are some things lacking though, like when shot by opponents, your car simply does a little flip. No big explosions or crazy animations or spinouts, just a brief color change and I guess a backflip. The sound department also, unfortunately, must have had the day off when this game came out. The sound effects are very minimalist, no explosions on impacts, very soft basic sound effects that all could have been pulled off on a Sega Genesis. The music is basically slightly enhanced MIDI music, played entirely from a keyboard, and not one bit of it utilized the CD capabilities or sampling capabilities of the PlayStation hardware. Does Miracle Space Race have a story? Well, nothing appears when you start up the game, it just goes into a demo mode, so let's see what we can find in the manual. Welcome to Miracle Space Race. Somewhere deep in space, Hogan, Ahab, Cadmus, and their friends are all trying their very best to win the 3 tournaments in the Miracle Space Race event. Using missiles, mines, shields, and speed boosts, plus a host of other weapons, these crazy racers just want to have fun. Are you ready to join them as they race across Neptune, Mercury, and the mysterious Solar V7? Jump in the driver's seat and see if you can take your chosen character to victory. Just remember that in Miracle Space Race, anything goes. That's all? No mention of how any of these creatures came to be in space? If this is a distant future or an alternate reality, nothing at all. It's simply a weird game with cutesy characters. Wait, that's it! Although Miracle Space Race lacks a truly cohesive story, and once you're in the game there's not much of one to be found at all, the characters are given biographies in the instruction booklet. This is where you can find out about how different the racers handle, but also a little more backstory about each racer. While it still doesn't paint an extremely vivid story for the game's universe, it does at least start to build something more substantial. The craziest part of this game, though, is one simple fact. The game launched in 2003. Yeah, you heard me right, the year 2003. The PlayStation console launched in 1994. Mario Kart 64 was from 1996. The PlayStation 2 itself had even launched in the year 2000. Yet basically 3 years after the PS2 had been on the shelves, this game was launched for the original PlayStation. This was obviously intended to be a budget title, the literal definition of shovelware, but I can only imagine that this game still has its diehard fans out there somewhere who remember it from their younger years. Admittedly, this explains why the game's graphics are as good as they are, and why the game's engine actually seems pretty sound, except for the AI not really racing so much as just programmed to perform at a certain level, not adapt to what players are doing. Miracle Space Race seems ahead of its time for the console generation it was released on. Then you realize just how far behind the times it was when it was released, and any appreciation for it quickly goes out the window. I was hoping I could salvage some of that with a cool story, but only came to find out that there's a reason this game is in the bargain bins. Nobody's racing to buy this game, and it'll be a miracle if you could even find out a little bit of our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 83 of Our Story So Far TV. I'm Garrett, aka New Angel. I'm over on Twitter at New Angel, that's NUANGEL. If you like this episode, or even remember the game, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you played Miracle Space Race. This is actually one, again, like I kind of said, I got in a bargain bin. I don't remember playing this game in my youth at all. I don't remember this game. This came out while I was in college. I couldn't fathom that this was almost 4 years after the Dreamcast, 3 years after the PS2. This is amazing. New episodes are released on a weekly basis, but if you need your fix right now, there are more videos right here on YouTube and over at ourstorysofar.tv. Until next time, take care of yourself.